everybody. As we all know, it's international break, and usually that time we can fill. Well, I fill my time with just rewatching Liverpool matches, doing some analyzing, and just a lot of times in the first games or the first time I watch them through, I don't pick up on everything, so I like to watch them again and just kind of focusing on on certain players and see how they've improved or not, or whatever the case may be. And so I've been doing that as usual. I mean, I do that even if we do have games every weekend, but I'll be doing it even more so now since we got a couple weeks or so till our big game against Man United. So, and one of the things I want to talk about was uh, Nathaniel Klein. He had gotten a lot of praise in this last match for Swansea, and I was one of the ones who, for some strange reason, because after I looked at it again, I realized that he was one of our better players on the day. One of our most consistent players as far as doing what it is that he's trained to do throughout that 90 minutes, honestly. Um, so I did watch the game again, and he definitely did stand out, along with Henderson um, and Mane here and there. And other than that, those to me were the real standout players. You can also throw Milner in there. It's even nice to see Milner getting a little tricky with the ball at his feet. I'm here and there. That's really interesting to see. A lot of times when we line up, he's one of the oldest players on the pitch, and it just shows he still has a bit of that youth in his game, which is really nice to see. So those to me were the standout players, especially after looking at it a second time. And then just speaking about that, just our players in general, I've read Origi had come out and said that he is really eager to get back into the starting 11, especially coming off of such a great kind of, he had a really good season with us last year, scored some goals um, in the league and in other cup competitions. And he's spoken about how he wants to pick up where he left off. In the meantime, he's being very patient and he doesn't want to mess up a good thing. So he put it as far as how we're playing right now. He doesn't want to interrupt that, and he's happy to be another member of the squad. And when his time is called, then he'll be ready, and he's definitely willing to wait his turn to realize that moment. So that's what you want to hear, especially from players that show promise. You don't want to hear things like, um, for example, what Sacco came out and said anything close to that. And one thing I will say is when Origi has come on, he's looked like he's lost a little confidence, and he look. And I've spoken about this before. He appears to be overthinking situations, and I think he just maybe just needs a string of consistent games. I think that's really the only way that I can see something different in his approach to playing striker for Liverpool Football Club. So I don't know if that'll happen in the League Cup. I don't know if it'll happen in the league. We'll see. But I too would love to see him start a few games. And again, when that happens, how that happens, I'm not really sure, and I don't really have any real opinions about that just yet. I just know I'd like to see him, and that might even mean coming in earlier than what he's been coming in for second halves of games. For example, if we're up pretty heavy on a team, maybe, or not even up, if we just feel like we need that spark, maybe we bring in Origi ahead of Sturridge or Ings when Ings comes back. So again, we've all spoken about this as supporters. It's nice to have such a selection for strikers. It's definitely not a bad thing. It's going to be a long season, and when we have knocks and suspensions or whatever the case may be, we're going to need people to step in. And at this moment, I'm very pleased at our options. I am under the impression that we all are on one accord as far as the players on the team and all working together. And uh, certain players have spoken about a family atmosphere, and that's great. I just hope we can keep that. I go back and forth with Sturridge, and trust me, I'm the biggest Sturridge fan there is. And at the same time, you look at rewatching this Swansea game. There's a moment there in the second half where we really started to put on. We really started to wake up and implement our counter pressing. And Milner especially was doing really good at a couple moments there. But there was one moment there, I can't remember what time it was in the game. But Milner loses the ball, gets it back, loses it, gets it back, and all of a sudden it's him, Wijnaldum, and Sturridge. So you got Milner on the left, Wijnaldum in the middle, somewhere in the opposing team's box, and then you got Sturridge. And Milner didn't squeeze the ball to Sturridge, and when Milner passed the ball to Wijnaldum, he didn't look for Sturridge, and you can see Sturridge's reaction after this. I mean, he's almost enraged, and I think a lot of that kind of gets to him because he feels like, in his mind and in most people's mind, he's the best striker on the team, and we need to be filling the ball to him anytime we get a chance. And we're just not built that way anymore. That leads me to talk about, I'm still on the same wave, but, 13-14 season, we scored by this time, I believe it was 11 goals. Yeah, 13-14 season, 11 goals. This season we're at 18. And to me, that says a lot about not having to rely on only one or two players. That season it was Sturridge, it was Suarez, but beyond that, it wasn't much else that I can remember that we had to show for. And I think these days we have guys that can score all over the pitch. So it's not going to just be Sturridge and one other guy. A lot of times Sturridge will get the ball, he'll do 28 step overs and then shoot out of bounds, or shoot it right at the keeper, or whatever the case may be. So listen, I love Sturridge, and I do believe he's going to be a big part of what we have going on, and hopefully in the future. Hopefully he wants to stay. Hopefully we want to keep him. I love having Sturridge around. And when he's on, and he's causing problems for teams, whether he's scoring or not, and that's the key. I think a lot of times people get caught up in if a guy's not scoring, then he's not being effective, and I don't subscribe to that feeling. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. At the same token, I do feel like we need to Sturridge needs to get himself mentally prepared and physically and everything, just ready for the game, and I just hope he's all there as far as still wanting to be a Liverpool player. I like to think that he does. At one time, I can say that I was totally convinced and pretty sure that he wanted to. At this point, I really don't know. So, yeah, again, I just hope that he's 100% with us, in mind, body, soul, and everything. So we'll look to see as the season goes on, things that happen or whatever. I think it's clear that he wants to start, and that could be affecting him. The fact that he's second thought. If a player gets hurt, he may come in, or second half, we need a spark, he may come in. I just wish more players would accept that and be the best, off the bench guy you can be. Come in and get goals, come in and make a presence. And Sturridge has done that from time to time this season so far. So I'm not knocking him at all. I just simply just hope that he wants to still be at Liverpool. That's all I can really say. On the other hand, it is nice that, again, we are not relying on him necessarily to win games. I think in the past seasons where he was hurt, the thought was, oh, we don't have Sturridge, and if we had Sturridge, wow, how many goals we could have, how many more points we could have, how many games we can be in competitively. That's not the feeling anymore. And as much as I love Sturridge, that's a good feeling to have. It's a good problem to have, or like their other problem, really. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about him. Firmino, I mean, just imagine we could be sitting here with Memphis Depay, whatever his name is, and I think at the time it was kind of mixed upon supporters. Maybe we should have gotten Depay. We didn't really know what Firmino was going to bring. Even the little bit that we saw, it just wasn't. It wasn't anything spectacular, and I think that clearly goes down to the management. And also, it was very early days for Firmino in England, and it was obviously going to take him some time to get used to the pace, the physicality, the structure, and everything that goes into the British football. So it took him some time, but I think as well as other players, Lovren, Lallana, I mean a whole host of guys that have just improved tremendously under Klopp. So I mean Firmino has just been a steal for us. It almost feels like a fresh signing. Every season. After his inaugural season, it feels like every season he's just going to improve even more. So that's just really nice to have. I keep thinking, imagining if he was on a different team, how well he possibly could be doing, and how I would be sitting back thinking, oh, it'd be lovely to have Firmino on our squad, but we have him, so it's a reality. Hendo just molded into that holding uh, field role. I mean, he's just doing really good. A lot of times, it's just him. Actually, a lot of times, the way we play, he drops back and he's almost playing a center back position, center back mid kind of position. And you got Joel Matip on the right. It's like a fullback kind of spot because he can, play with the ball at his feet. And then you got Lovren on the left. Milner and Klein are pushed up. So it's interesting to see how we break down in that formation, depending on how we choose to play at the moment, whatever team we're playing against. So Henderson's just doing really well, man. And again, ever since that Tottenham game, he's just been seriously focused and just going into tackles, giving the ref a little stick, lifting the squad up, just being a real leader. Him and Milner, actually. A lot of times you can see Milner when they pan the camera over to him. He's doing this after his penalty shot in the game against Swansea, his goal. He's doing this and telling guys to just stay focused. Let's see the game through. And luckily we did it. Fortunately, we did it. So I'm just proud of the team of where we are right now, and my opinion of Liverpool's performance so far is that I feel like we definitely have this. There's definitely a plethora of room for improvement. There's no question about that. We've got a lot that we can improve on. Some of those things are the obvious things: set piece goals, stopping those, but also a part of stopping those is corner kicks. Sometimes you can't help those. The set piece free kicks that are just outside the box. Um, Being smarter with certain tackles. Listen, I love for us to be physical and go into tackles and things of that nature. Also, being mindful of where the team is and how close they are to our goal and where we're making these tackles and how we're making the tackles. To be honest, not to make up any excuses or anything, I just think we've had a hard way to go with some of these games and some of these refs. Again, going back to the Swansea game, you see some of the decisions that were made. It was incredible. And thank God some of those goals didn't go on. At least a couple of them were clearly offsides when you look at them again. There were moments there where we had players getting stepped on their foot, stamped on, and things like that. And I know refs can't catch everything, but there are moments where the linesman, I mean, he's right there, it's right in front of him, and how he doesn't see these actions is beyond me. I really don't understand it. There's other matches, Chelsea and Leicester City. Listen, it's football. It's going to happen. I'm not crying about it. At the same time, I think we've had to persevere through lots of things, and all teams do here and there. So it's just not new, or it's not woe is me or woe is the club. Just things that I've noticed that would be nice if the person who's supposed to notice them, whose job it is to notice them. So yeah, but moving forward, I'm proud of the team. I think we've come a long way. The set pieces, again, defensively, way too many crosses getting in. I think we saw a lot against Swansea, being as that there was a new keeper. Lovren was back in the side. It's going to take some time between the center backs and the keeper to get familiar, realize what's going on between the three of them. Kind of a lot of times, I think there's just one unit. They're the closest playing to each other, and they got to figure out, if he's coming out to call the ball, I got it, watch out. And vice versa. If Matip or Lovren is calling for the ball, watch out, I got it. Then we got to clean that up, and that just comes with more training. So, that's something that I feel like we shouldn't have to worry about too much. A lot of these last few games, we've beat teams, and they've only scored one goal, which is good. Obviously, I think we all would like to keep clean sheets. Nathaniel Klein has just come out recently and spoken about him being a defender, and obviously that being something that he wants to accomplish with the team sooner than later. But teams getting one goal is next to zero. You know what I mean? That if they score on one, don't let them score more. And we've done that. Whether we've been fortunate or not fortunate, somehow we've pulled out games where we've only allowed teams to score one goal. Meanwhile, that's adding tallies. And it's reminding me of the 13-14 season, where it's great that we have more goals at this point than we did then, but we're still conceding goals at the same amount of rate, the same rate. And so I like to see that diminished a whole lot, and I think it will happen. And also, Mane, obviously, great signing. A lot of you were sleeping on that. A lot of you were wondering why we were getting him. Why we were getting Wijnaldum, who I think is also been unsung, also been kind of under the radar, but has been very, very industrial in the midfield. Hardworking, not pouting about where he's asked to play. I mean, and that's what you need. We got a team full of guys who just play where they need to play. They just want to play. You think about Firmino. He can play anywhere up front. Striker middle, strike right, strike left. He can play wherever and be, quality wherever he's asked to play. He just wants to play. He just wants to play for Liverpool, and that just makes me really happy. He wants to put that uniform on, and that's what you need, Milner. I mean, just Mister Do It All. Wherever you need him to play, he'll play. And same thing for Wijnaldum. So, a lot of people were sleeping on Mane, fans, pundits, former players, and we all, you know, have situations where we think things are going to go wrong and they don't. So I'm not knocking anybody for it, but what I am saying is that it's really nice that I finally feel like we've had a transfer window that we can be pleased at. And the guys that we've played, the guys that we've got in have come in and done a job. Clavin, can't forget about Clavin. Come in, done a job, and look like players that have been playing with Liverpool forever. They just, seamlessly right in. You think about Mane at Southampton. Obviously, he was great, but it's nice to go to St. Mary's, and he's going to be on our side this time. We don't have to worry about him getting past our back four and scoring goals like he did last season. So, just again, happy days. We've said it on some time redundant, but it really is. It's just nice that we're able to get through this period of time with one loss, and that loss seems like a long time ago now. I think we've obviously learned from our mistakes to a degree, and are better and are more together for sure. That was the second game of the season. For us to experience that together and move forward, I think it's made us a better club. And since then, we haven't turned back. Our levels have been really, really high. I think Swansea again, and I'm not for the excuses about it being an early game and it being in Wales. And to me, there's no those kind of excuses. I don't go with. It's football. I don't care if it was 7 o'clock in the morning. It's football. It was early for them too, although they were home. But it's football. You go out, you do a job, you get a victory, and we did that. And we muscled through that and persevered and got that win. No matter how pretty it was, or how ugly I should say it was, we got the win, and that's all that matters. So it prepares us to go into this next match with Man United Monday. I think 3 p.m. U.S. time. So I'm looking forward to that. And other things I want to talk about was the player that has impressed me the most this season. I was thinking about this question, and it's kind of difficult to say because I can leave out a lot of people, but I am going to say it has been Adam Lallana. I think he's improved so much. Him scoring 3 goals already is already looking really promising and going to be really, really good for us. His energy in the press. It was really sad to see him go down in the Swansea game, and I hope it's just something that he can bounce back from or growing. I don't know how serious they can or cannot be, but I figure with a couple of weeks of international break time, he can somehow regroup, refresh, and come back in his form. But yeah, he's just been an animal for us, and another guy that I just spoke about a few minutes ago that plays where he needs to play at. I think his ideal role would be playing a little more forward, but he's accepted that midfield role and just been incredible. So to me, he's been the most improved and the most impressive this season. One of the things people were saying, and I know he was hearing it, but also I know he just knew it for himself, is that, for all the other talent and hard work he has, where's the goals? And he's got that. He's got that. He played 6-7 games, I think, and in the league, and he's got 3 goals. It's not a bad ratio for Lallana. So Lallana gets my vote for it. Another day it could be somebody else, but I think Lallana, how I feel right now in this moment, I think Lallana's been the most impressive. How has Klopp performed this season? I think Klopp's been really good. I think he's he's obviously one of those guys who you feel like people are easily drawn to. Just his charisma, his energy, the whole vibe he gives off. They say he's a great man manager, and I think that's shown to be true. And you see his interaction with the players after the game, win, lose, or draw. He's always in their face. He's always got his arm around them, talking to them, hugging them, slapping them, kissing them, whatever the case may be. And that's got to be a contagious feeling. And I spoke about before. That's got to be a good feeling for the players to know they've worked so hard for this guy in training and preseason, and he knows, or the players know that the coach trusts them. The manager trusts them, and I think it's a trust back and forth. It's a give and take. I think the players really trust him that if they operate and work out what he wants them to do on the field, then the reward is going to be sweet, and we've seen that. And so I think they trust him, and they trust that if they do what he's asking them to do, then they're going to be successful. So I think we keep that up, we're good, we're golden, and I think I don't see why we can't hold that up or keep that up. So overall, I would say if I had to rate the squad right now at this point in the season from 1 to 10, I'd probably go like a good 7.5, 8. More so on the 7.5 part, just because I do see that set pieces can still be our Achilles, and until we can go a stretch without conceding that and without giving teams ideas that at least they feel like they can get a point off Liverpool, or a goal from Liverpool on set pieces, and then maybe they can figure out the rest. But that to me is still a problem. The back line is still shaky. There's times where they look really sharp, and then other times where we look kind of flat. So I would say that, and I would say our being a little more clinical in the final third. Still got issues with decision making and just little sloppy there at the end in some of these games. And thirdly, our passing, which also is kind of the same thing, or is in the same bubble as being clinical at the end of or in the final third. The passing decision making is a little off. So that's what I got today. I probably forgot some things I wanted to say, but that was off the head and a few notes that I had. So we'll be back sometime before now in the game. It's a little early to give thoughts about that game, so I'll let some time go and see what else is going on with the club, and then come back with the video leading into that game. So it can't get here fast enough. This is going to be a long 2 weeks. I already feel it. I mean, it's at the 5th of the month now, Wednesday, so it's moving kind of fast, but it's going to seem like forever till Monday comes here. But yeah, till next time, folks.